This is Julia James Davis, and welcome to The War on Beauty. The new holiday bear cups that went crazy this week at Starbucks with frenzies in stores, instant sellouts, and then sellers reselling on eBay for up to $50,000, I think is very interesting because it reveals something deeper happening in our country, which is that meaningful communities are on a steep decline and have been replaced with consumerism. The bear cup is a mini phenomenon, I think, coming out of the crisis of community. Now, in case you haven't heard of this, the bear cup situation is referring to Starbucks' recent launch of a bear-shaped cup called the Bearista cup, which retails for $29.95 as part of their holiday collection. And there was immediate virality with this cup. People went and waited in line at their local Starbucks as early as 4 a.m. to secure a cup. There was so much commotion that there were even fights in the stores, and a lot of people didn't end up getting a cup. The scarcity and high demand then led to astronomical prices for these cups on the resale market, and on top of it all, there was just a lot of furious customers who left empty-handed. Now, what I'm talking about in this video is this recent trend of increasing consumerism that has also accompanied increasing isolation. And now I know there's exceptions to this because there always is. I saw, for example, a lot of people who are parents who waited in line to get their cups for their kids who really wanted one, and I think that's really sweet. But for the most part, I think that the Starbucks cup and then the Trader Joe's tote bags before that, which I do have one of those, but also the Lububus before that, the Rhode lip glosses, the Stanley cups, and so on, are indicative of an increasing isolation in our country. Participating in these trends, which always involve buying something, has become a way to feel part of something, as so much interaction and community have shifted online from in-person connection. And I will say, while America has been a consumerist society for quite some time, especially starting in the 20th century and after World War II, that consumerism of the past was slightly different because that consumerism was also accompanied with good jobs, industry, home ownership, and family making, all things which are, like community, on the decline, especially for the younger generations. And now there is a correlation between the increasing succession of trends and increasing loneliness. In 2023, US Surgeon General Murtha released an advisory about the epidemic of loneliness and isolation. The report cites surveys which state that half of US adults report experiencing loneliness, with some of the highest rates among young adults. The report also goes on to say that these estimates and other studies indicate that loneliness and isolation are more widespread than many of the other health issues of our day, including smoking, diabetes, and obesity. They say despite such high prevalence, less than 20% of individuals who often or always feel lonely or isolated recognize it as a major problem. The report says that time spent with friends is decreasing and that actually the number of friendships in general is declining. For example, 49% of Americans in 2021 reported having 3 or less close friends, while only 27% of Americans reported the same in 1990. And time spent alone is increasing. So as traditional community connections are waning, social media and online communities have filled the gap. It's now estimated that 17 years of your adult life may be spent online, as internet users are spending about 400 minutes per day online. When things like the Bear Cup go viral, the participation in the trend by going out and getting the item and then maybe making the coffee drinks at home with the cup is a way to feel connected and part of a group. And that's an instinct that is completely natural, since we as humans are social creatures and crave belonging and connection. I think that though, while there has been this intense isolation and consumerism, we already see signs of a shift in another direction. One point of community that has been historically very important at the heart of a place, a community, and a life is church, which church attendance over recent years and decades has been declining. But recently, there's actually been a revival in faith and church, especially among younger people. Citing a research initiative from Barna Group, Christianity Today said churchgoers between the ages of 18 and 28 attend church more frequently than their older siblings, parents, or grandparents. Barna, they said, calls this a historic and generational reversal. The way that we break free, I think, from these consumer trends is really just by living more of our lives offline. If we can connect to community and real life that's based in shared values, things like church, library. There's even a book called Bowling Alone, which is on my reading list, that seems exactly like this, that maybe you should find a bowling group. Very simple things like that that people used to do in the past. A third place between work and home. This is so important if we're going to fix this and also find true meaning instead of attempting to fill that hole that we all have, the desire for belonging and community, with stuff and consumption. All of that is just a cheap substitute and of course is never going to fill that spot. I think that there's so much to be said and underlying reasons for this rampant consumerism, especially upticking since the pandemic. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Just a quick video on my thoughts about the recent Starbucks Bearista cup trend. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you will please like, comment, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any further videos from the war on beauty.